Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. Today my name's Tom and we're going to be interviewing Steve, who is a marketing expert. This is a video that we've been wanting to do for quite a while, is actually talk about marketing, because it's one thing to have the best product in the world, it's another thing to get people to know that you have the best product in the world. So I'm delighted that we have Steve on call here. Sorry, I can hear myself talking on my phone to make sure the stream's actually working. Um, can everybody somebody in the chat just say yes they can hear me, just so I know that I'm not rambling to myself. Hopefully I'm not rambling to myself, but you never know. So I'm going to continue on as if I'm not rambling to myself. So as I said, my name is Tom, and thanks for tuning in this week. So who am I? So my name is, I'm Thomas Walsh, and I'm the kind of founder of Build My Unicorn. A little bits about me is I'm the admin to the Build My Unicorn network, the Meetup network, and I think on the Meetup network now we are nearly 900 people strong. So there's a fair few of you there. I can see all the yeses coming in. So I'm also a high potential manager, startup manager in Oracle. So that's the day job. So that is the job that I do day in and day out. So that's given me an access to an awful lot of startups. That gave me the knowledge to start doing all this. Founder of Build My Unicorn, which in itself is a consultancy company. I'm acting CTO for 2 companies, and I'm a technical advisor to multiple startups. So when I started doing this, my role was just pure technical. That's where the build from Build My Unicorn came. I actually meant that literally, the build of Build My Unicorn. So what we do is we have planted ourselves right in the center of everything. So an awful lot of startups that I deal with, they don't know what they don't know. So when they've got a good idea, and the idea is the easy part, unfortunately everything else becomes difficult. After that, what Build My Unicorn is we try to recover. So right now we're doing videos. We've got a platform in the work. But it's the idea to help with blockchain, technical questions, how you get started, the legal stuff, digital marketing is what we're here today to talk about. Investment, I've done other videos on investment, but this circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's not enough room here for me to do this. But that's what we do. So we've placed ourselves in the center of what each startup needs. And who is Steve? So why is Steve here? Why did I ask Steve to come along to do this? So there he is. It's a handsome picture. You might be a little bit disappointed when you see him, but I can see Steve's face on the screen. You can't yet. He was a bit shocked at that one. But it's a very good picture, Steve. Steve is the founder of Spread Like Wildfire Media, and much like everything else in this world, Steve was introduced me to by somebody else, and now Steve is working with me on an awful lot of media campaigns that I'm doing, especially the crowdfunding one that's coming up soon. He's also a film producer and an actor director, so he'll speak to you a little bit more about that in a second. So what we are here to talk about, we're here to talk about marketing. Obviously, it's the name of the video. So some of the questions that we've asked. So what type of marketing do I need as a business? What do marketers do exactly? Different platforms we're going to talk about. Can I run my business without any marketing activities? I don't understand marketing. Can I give you everything you do? I'm not good with this stuff, but my nephew is. Can he not just do it? And putting all my funding into advertising alone is a good idea. There's more questions, and one of the more order questions, so feel free to ask questions as well. So what we usually do when we do these videos live is, because there's a delay, people are watching this from actually all over the world, but because there's a delay in this, the chat comes in weirdly. So what we do is we answer a question, and then I'll go back to the chat, and then from the chat, then we can we'll answer the questions as much as can. So you've got an expert here on marketing. You've got myself here for startups in general. So ask as many questions as you want. And I'll speak about there's another bit of technology we're going to use to help to ask questions. I'll speak about that in 1 second. But from my ask, the reason why I do this is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a community. And that kind of really starts with YouTube. So if this is your first time here, I know there's an awful lot of people I can see, especially the people who said yes to me there. I recognize all their names. But if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like, because it just helps with the algorithm. It helps the guy out really. Then LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile is in the description as well. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Steve's LinkedIn profile is there as well. Feel free to reach out to him. So if you like what he's saying throughout this whole session and you think that he could be somebody who could help you out, please reach out to him. His webpage is there as well. There's also a link to a LinkedIn group that we've kind of used there for people to ask questions or to post events that they're doing in there as well. And the mailing list. So the mailing list, if you want, the reason why we have this, if you want slides, these slides that we're doing, and I know they're basically, the slides are just going to be questions. So, but if you want to know about the videos that we've done, the past videos, the past slides, the mailing list is the place to go. So I don't have everybody, I don't know who's on this thing. I don't have everybody's email address. But if you want all the slides and information, just put your name on the mailing list. And then, lastly, before we jump into the actual thing, I just want to reach out to Telby. They are our technology partner. So what they do is they've given us great technology that you can record questions, rather than type the questions. You can actually record the questions, and then I'll play them live on the video. Steve can hear them and he can answer. So if you just don't want to type and you just want to hit record your question and go, then yeah, Telby's a great bit of tech for doing this, and you'll see it in action during it. We've got pre-recorded questions on there as well. So that's me talking for the last 7 minutes or so. So the next thing is to bring in Steve and to let him talk about himself. So we're here to talk about marketing, getting noticed in the crowd. Let me just bring in Steve. There he is. So I'm going to stick him here, and I'm going to maneuver myself around a little bit as well.
Hello.
How's it going, Stephen? Steve, for
okay?
hopefully everybody can hear you fine and dandy. I think they can. Anybody in the chat want to say yay or nay to us? Whether you can hear Steve okay? I'm hoping you can.
No.
But we'll continue on like they can, because it takes a few minutes before this stream catches up with the chat. So, Steve, you want to give yourself a little bit of introductions? Just tell everybody about yourself.
Sure, definitely. Thank you for having me on. Hi, everybody. My name is Steve, and I run Spread Like Wildfire Media. And what we do is we help our clients in business do more work and help them with their marketing content and their video content. That takes many forms. That could be content writing, SEO, website development, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, all the different types of advertising. It's quite general. There's quite a lot in there, but ultimately it's down to helping other businesses out in their digital marketing and video realm.
Excellent. And what we're here today is specifically startups, because there is a drastic difference between a marketing budget for an established company that has revenue coming in and a startup that has no revenue coming in, and they're either bootstrapping it or they're bootstrapping, or they've got a little bit of funding coming in. So what we're kind of trying to do today is to try to figure out what's the best way for a startup or somebody starting out to spend that money, or how much money should they spend, or where should they spend it to get the best return. So we'll kick off with the first question, and then we'll go to the chat. I can already see some questions coming in on the chat, but we'll kick off with the first kind of planned question, and that is, what types of marketing do I need to do as a business? So we'll take that business as a startup. So you start fresh. What do you need to do, Steve? Come on, tell us.
It's a great question. I would kind of divide that up into a couple of things for a startup. So you've got you guys at home, you might want to get a pen and maybe write something down. You've got a couple of activities, but it can really be divided into two things. You've got marketing, which can generate income, so income generating activity through marketing, or you've got brand building, which is, any kind of content that builds your relevance in the market, that type of thing. So with income generating activity marketing, that's stuff like you have a product, You put it out on Facebook as an ad. People click the ad. People buy the product. You've made income. And then the branding stuff is more generalized. It's about writing about your industry, doing videos in your industry, that type of thing. So I would say at the start, if funding is a issue in your startup, I would actually kind of go towards the brand route, because if you just don't have the money to try, in the start, just try and build up your relevance in the space, if that makes sense. So do as much branding from the start as possible, because that way you kind of build yourself up as a relevant person within your industry, and your brand as well, your startup brand, your company, the influence of your company builds up as well. So in the start, if you don't have the capital and you're still building your product or your service, I would focus on the brand more marketing than income generating activity marketing. And what I would do in its place is I would network. I would get people out there talking about me, talking to other people, saying, hey, do you know anybody in your network that might like my product or service? Networking can be a great kind of free or on the cheap replacement for income generating activity marketing, like advertising.
So yeah, to push them to prove the point that like networking is what got us two talking to each other.
Exactly.
So if anybody's on this call and they want some marketing done, they may reach out to you, but
exactly.
From your point of view, that's not cost you anything. You've pushed your brand onto this YouTube channel, and how away you go. Myself, I'm a startup consultant, and I didn't have the money for advertisement, so I created a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel now has me talking in front of, I don't know how many we're on. Let me just check. We are on, there's about 20 something or other people there now, but then people watch this afterwards as well. So I build my brand up, and so this has cost me nothing. And then I've had solicitors on, I've had branding experts on. Funnily enough, last week we had crowdfunding experts, and then nice. my what's it called, brand is going out into them, and now they know me as well. And then through networking, it's very weird. I'm getting more business through networking than I ever did. I never really advertised, but it's word of mouth. That's coming.
Well, the thing with word of mouth is that there's never a stronger form of marketing. There's somebody coming to you and saying you need this, and that vibe, whatever it is, just speaks to us as humans in a way that converts far more than a web page ever can do. Not that digital advertising is ineffective; it's far from it. The issue with networking is that the leads are only as scalable as it's only as big as your network. Whereas advertising, it can scale, put more money into it, you get more people. Whereas networking, you're more likely to kind of at the start get those referrals. However, it only scales with who you know, and how many people you can possibly know.
And that does become the issue, is that there's only kind of networking and branding. There's only one of you to do that, and you can only do so much stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
The point of it is, as a startup, your brand is your best weapon, I suppose, at the start, if you don't have the marketing capital. So let's say we've a bit of marketing capital. So there's a little bit of money there. Where would the best
if we've gone from zero to a little bit, we're still in the three figures, couple hundred quid or a couple hundred euros, dollars, whatever. Depending on the network, if it's I really recommend affiliate marketing for that kind of level. So what affiliate marketing is, well, let's use the general example. If you go to a platform which is called an affiliate marketing network, you pay them a subscription fee. They help you find what are known as affiliates, sometimes known as publishers. And these affiliates push out your content, your products, your services. And there's an affiliate link on your website, which they send out. People click that link. and any revenue generated through their affiliate activity gets a sale. They get a commission for. So it's a really easy thing because the membership to the affiliate marketing networks is never really a lot of money. I think I've seen it average about 1 to sometimes it's a one-off fee of like a couple hundred. And then after that, there's only commission to worry about. So as long as you've got the what's the word? As long as you've got the kind of your profit is high enough, your margins are high enough, you can kind of divide a little bit of that into a commission, say like 5-10%, can be higher. And you give that to the affiliate, and then you've got a more or less solely kind of pay on commission sales agent at that point. Almost, it's like a modern day version of a commission only sales agent. So yeah, there's a lot you can do there with affiliate marketing in the small levels. It is a bit tricky to kind of get these platforms to do services. I'm doing it right now with a client that's a service-based client. It's usually a bit more tricky, with product-based. You click the link, you add it to your cart, payment process, and you're done. With service-based, it's hard to do affiliate stuff. It's not impossible. It's just a little bit more trickier. But definitely have a look at affiliate marketing if you've only got a little bit. And then after that point, you're in the couple of grands, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. As your marketing budget, you either you look at that point of, are you bringing this in house? Are you doing it yourself as a business owner? Are you outsourcing it to an agency? Those are the questions you ask after that point.
Cool, excellent. I hope that has that question cleared up. So we're going to go back to the chat here and see if there is any questions. Paul, okay, on a marketing level, why are you pushing through YouTube more than Facebook or LinkedIn? So, Paul, I think that this is more of a question for myself. It's a good question. Why am I doing it through? So I suppose I started this on YouTube because I'll answer honestly. When I first looked at YouTube, which way to go, I looked at how much YouTubers make videos, and you see these people going on to say, they make loads of money on YouTube, and they go, that looks easy. I'll do that. It turns out it's not easy. It's nope. And you don't actually make any money off YouTube really, even if you're in the even if you're in the high echelons of it. You have to be like a superstar to get there. So that's why I started with YouTube. Facebook, I've never really got into Facebook too much. Now, funny you should say that, Paul, because I was looking prior to this video to software to send a stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I've started to join Facebook groups now more to start helping like the kind of startup groups there. So I just started on YouTube, I suppose, because I was kind of sold that vision. I continued on because I figured out how to do it. And it's not until now that I'm trying to move on to other platforms. So I kind of started what I was comfortable with. LinkedIn, now I will do stuff on LinkedIn as well, but they send the videos this way. What's the software? So I'm using OBS software. It's the kind of the streaming software to put the Zoom and my video and the PowerPoint all together and then stream it to YouTube. And
there are a couple out there, a couple of similar ones in the same vein. The type of genre of software where you're pushing it out to multiple places is called, I believe it's called multi-stream. Multi-stream live streaming software, something like that.
Yeah. So I've seen one. The one I was looking at today is called Caster, and basically I send one stream into one platform, and then they send it to multiple platforms. So, Paul, there may be something coming out on in Facebook soon enough. Regarding LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, what slice of market, data customer slice, what penetration are you trying to achieve from the platform and why? So, Paul, I suppose this is a question to me more than anything. So LinkedIn, so the YouTube sends this video throughout the world, and the LinkedIn thing is just something for somebody to reach out to me there. So I've tried LinkedIn marketing before, and it just I don't know. It just didn't work. Like I got free credits, and then I got like £50 worth of free credits, and I put it up there, and it was gone like that. It was very expensive. It was very specific on LinkedIn. So,
I would challenge that a little bit. I would say that you were learning. That was your price of entry to just figure out how to click the buttons.
yeah, probably.
LinkedIn advertising is very powerful. The issue is you got to know what to do with it.
So, Paul, I also done this before I knew Steve, so I just ran with it, and I clicked on so to be honest with you, Paul, I haven't really thought this through in a longer term. So this is kind of more of it's a side gig for me. So I do have my full-time job, so I'm not really trying to achieve an awful lot of getting customer slices. I'm just kind of happy with what I'm doing and the little bit of side money that comes in for now. Hopefully that answers your question, Paul. Let me see. Ben, you guys are really pushing your services. This isn't what I signed up for. Ben, I didn't think we were. We were kind of.
Did we? I don't remember closing, Ben.
Okay, maybe it was at the start when I was talking.
Well, yeah, but you got to let people know what it is you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know, Ben. Apologies if we've offended you or annoyed you. But that's kind of. I don't know what to say. It's what it is. Do you have any recommendations for good marketing channels for B2B products? It might be much harder to reach business from the usual social media channels.
So good channels as in like
So like when I'm talking to people about marketing, I'd explain to them that when you're looking for the persona that you want, where do they live socially? So in other words, if you're looking to get a banker advertise, if you're looking to get somebody in the finance world, they may not be looking for a finance platform on Facebook, for instance, or Twitter or Instagram. So I'd say, can you talk about more of the platforms? So if you're looking to get out for B2B, what platform would be the best one?
Definitely, depending on the business, definitely either Google Ads or, because everybody uses Google, or LinkedIn. In the kind of B2B kind of business world, those are the platforms that you can just get the most reach out on in that kind of space. You know, you mentioned like finance, that kind of thing. If it's a B2C product, like I don't know, picking shampoo out the top of my head, that's kind of the realm of your traditional social medias like Facebook. Honestly, I don't do an awful lot of Twitter advertising, so I'm not even going to mention that. But yeah, Facebook, general rule, Facebook, B2C, Google, LinkedIn, that type of thing, B2B. And then video content can be advertised on pretty much any platform, regardless of business, regardless of if it's B2B or B2C.
Cool. So the answer to that specific question then would be kind of Facebook or Google Ads. So with Google Ads, especially when you're doing Google Ads, if you know what the people are searching for, like the kind of the keywords, that's where you want to have your that's where you want to be living in the Google world. So if you're looking for me, imagine startups. If somebody puts in startups, how many people are going to be searching for startups? It's going to be very hard.
That's an expensive word.
Yeah. But then, yeah, you kind of, if you know what they're searching for, Google Ads can be very, very powerful. Okay, let me see. Can you share Steve's contacts? So, Jams, Steve's contacts details are in the description. So, his LinkedIn page. That's the best way to reach it.
Drop me a message. Say, hey, I was on the Build My Unicorn stream. Want to talk to you about whatever. And I'd love to have a chat. I'm definitely an accessible person. I love a natter with anybody. So whatever it is you want to speak out about, or if you just want to connect, just drop. Link is in the bio or the description.
Cool. So the next question then: how can I get Facebook organic reach?
How can you get Facebook organic reach? It's a great question. The answer is good luck. So slightly different on the video kind of front, but if say you've got a business and you've got a business Facebook page, let's use Build My Unicorn for example. The reach on Facebook is garbage, the organic reach. The reason for that is that Facebook, being the multi-billion, trillion-dollar conglomerate it is, realized, when people push this button to post, if Pepsi pushes this button to post, and we do the same thing for Coca-Cola, but we charge Coca-Cola money, Coca-Cola pays, so let's make everybody pay, and we'll make loads of money. So the organic reach on these things is just because Facebook wants to incentivize you to pay. Now, that's great for Facebook and great for their shareholders, but for startups and businesses like you and me, it's pretty terrible. So if you are after Facebook shareability, a shareability factor, it's got to have a wowness to it. So video usually does fine on Facebook in terms of sharing and stuff like that. Well, I say that, don't just shoot a video for a video's sake. The video's still got to be good. You can kind of get somewhere with articles. However, you've really got to you've got to be good. You've really got to be good. A bogus article you write in half an hour probably isn't getting shared on Facebook that much. Decent video content, it can make you laugh or it's informative, can get shared relatively a decent amount of time, a fair few times. So yeah, if you're making anything on Facebook organically, it's got to be good.
So I can give you a few examples. So, like when going back to the question earlier on to me, why haven't I really done much with Facebook, is because when I create an event, if I create an event in Facebook, especially from the Build My Unicorn Facebook page, when you create that event, it doesn't really go anywhere, but they have like boost your ad. It's always about boosting the ads, and then when you put in a post from it's always about boosting. It's also pay us a little bit of money, and we will we will boost it there. So growing organically on Facebook, unless you're fairly witty and something to share, like for me it's business and startups, it's not gonna go viral. Let's put it that way. So
yeah, that's a good way of summarizing it, Thomas. Thank you.
So you have to pay. So it's very hard to do organic Facebook. Steve, we've got loads of questions in here, right? We're going.
This is good, right? That means it's working. People like what we've got to say.
Right, so I'm seeing hundreds of people say they're offering online/social marketing campaigns and none that distinguish themselves. How would you choose one over the other in the current market?
That's a great question. I assume this person's talking about agencies, about, hey, we're a digital marketing agency, we'll put out your ads for you, and that's all they seem to advertise. There was this part of me that thought the question might be about like courses, like pay me $5,000 and I'll teach you how to have the best thing ever. I'm going to just assume that question was about agencies. Funnily enough, I've had this conversation with a colleague of mine and how I'm looking at repurposing my agency to help startups, tech companies and creative companies. I would say look for one that fits it. If there is one in your niche, see if there's one that works specifically for you. Now, I don't know the person asking the question much about anything about what they do. So, if there's a marketing agency for bricklayers, don't know where that came from, and you're a bricklaying company, that marketing agency just knows your struggles. If it's all they deal with, they know your struggles. If you go to not even somebody big, but somebody more generalized, they'll know how to put the ads up, but they don't really know you. So I guess kind of look for something, look for a USP, look for somebody that's actively saying, hey, we're different. Hey, we're doing this for either you or this kind of business. That's the type of person you've got to look for, type of agency.
Cool. A follow-up question to that then. Anyone that offers online marketing services in SEO/PPC, pay-per-click penetration, I'd assume?
Yeah, pay-per-click and search engine optimization, yeah?
Yeah. So that's the what he was talking about.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry. Thank you for the clarification. Those people tend to be in the just. I'd put them in like the digital marketing agency category. I basically answered the question. Then those sorts of people have look for a USP if there's a specific one for your industry, or they help startups, or they help SMEs, or whatever it is. Look for a unique selling point, something that identifies you with them.
Cool, excellent. So I'm having trouble finding a product to sell. How can I find something good to sell? Now that's Jonathan, that's a difficult question. If everybody could have something good to sell, we'd all be selling it. But what I'd suggest on that is Google Trends. So if you go to if you just type in Google Trends, and you can and then start putting in new products, and you can see what people are googling. So you can see if people are googling when I do my other videos, it was electronic cigarettes or blockchain or whatever. But if you can see something that's low and it's on an upward trend, that's the type of thing that you want to start grabbing and you want to start selling. It's the next, I suppose.
If I could chip in with that advice as well, I'd give different. That's very good advice. I just want to throw in a different hat in the ring. It's all right saying I want to find something, that secret pot of money that's going to make me loads of money. But I would look inward rather than outward. What are you passionate about? Because if you're passionate about something, you're more likely to do something with it. So if you're there thinking, oh, I've got to look on, it's definitely the right advice. But I feel like there's a step before it. So if you're more passionate about hockey, again, I don't know where these examples are coming from, but you're looking on Google Trends and you're seeing that a certain product is selling. I don't know, looking at my PlayStation. So maybe you're thinking about opening up a game store, but you're more passionate about hockey. Do something with hockey. Manufacture hockey sticks. Make hockey jerseys, that type of thing. So I feel like there needs to be kind of a step before yours, Thomas, where you know what it is you're passionate about. Because if you're just doing something to make money, you're going to crash and burn quite fast.
True, especially if you're not making any money off it, you'll just
give exactly. Up.
You'll just give up straight away.
Take months to get up. There is no. I'll just start up a business and then make money and then happy day. Oh, unless you're in finance, there's no business that really works like that. So you do have to know what it is you're in for, and it shouldn't always be about the money.
Cool. Well, we're gonna try to. We've only hit question 1 and we've used a third of the time. So
yeah.
We still have one more question from Stephen. You're doing a top job. Thank you very much. I'm a startup service-based trader and I'm liking the info, lads. Talk to me about achieving max penetration on a B2C, less than 60,000 60 km radius, budget approximately 1,000.
Oh, right. I would have to get my kind of thing up to look at that. So 60 kilometers, 1,000.
Yeah, you have a service thing for, I suppose. I first guess I'm saying Google Map. Put yourself on Google Maps.
The question, like, where should I go?
Yeah. So what's the best? So he has €1,000. Where's the and he can work within a 60-kilometer radius of himself. He has a service-based business. To B2C, so it's to customers rather than it's not going to be B2B.
Yeah.
What would let's talk to him. Let's help Steve out.
I'm going to say Google or Facebook, but I'd need to know more.
Yeah. One thing I would suggest, free advertisements, whatever you do, put yourself on Google Maps. That's a very, very good starting point, especially if you're doing radius stuff. Like once you're on Google Maps, people can kind of see you there.
The other interesting thing you could do with that, actually, just thinking about the kilometers again, is I'm not too sure how in depth you can do this, but like local SEO. So there's like different types of SEO, like national, international, then local. So for me, I'm based in Manchester in the UK, so I can. If I typed into Google digital marketing agency in Manchester, excluding the adverts that pay for those clicks. So maybe like if 60 kilometers is in a region, it might be good to kind of put some money into local SEO.
Cool.
Might be a cool wild card.
Yep, that's localization. So if you're a baker in Dublin, like people are going to be searching baker in Dublin, so SEO could be your a good bet there. He did say, Steve, that he's going to reach out to us on LinkedIn, so we'll
look forward to it.
He'll give you more details then. I've actually got a thumbs up from my godson who's here as well, Connor.
Connor, nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's young. He's only starting secondary school now, so we're giving some business tips.
Oh
so,
wow, he's starting them early, eh?
Yeah, starting them early. Yeah. So Adams, anyone that offers? Yeah. I said context. Thank you. The mostly sound generic. Okay, so we've got 2 questions. So, what we're going to do, Bruno, I'm going to come back to your question because we're only on question 1 here. We have Bruno who's got 2 questions for us. So let's answer our next question, and then Bruno will come back to yours after this question, just so we can at least move the slide.
I have to do a quick fire round to get through all these questions.
Yeah, we'll have what's it called there, just so we look like we've moved on past question 1. So question 2, what does you do exactly? Am I just paying you to post my Facebook page? So
this is kind of the question that most kind of people who don't get it kind of ask. And what I like about it is that, if you don't know what it is, then you just don't know. And I love the explanations and the getting across what this actually is. So Facebook, let's say a small business mom and pop shop owner probably just sees Facebook as this thing where it's really bright outside today, then clicks post, and then I don't know, 5 people like it. And then for that you think, why am I paying you for that? The closest type of marketing to that is called community management, but there's an awful lot more that goes into community management than just that. So the long answer is no. The short answer is definitely not. There's an awful lot that goes into it. So if you don't know about digital marketing, Facebook. If you when you're scrolling on your timeline, you'll see I think it's the top left, it might be the top right corner. Oh no, I think is it the bottom? You see somewhere anyway on the post it says promoted. And if it's promoted, it means the business that owns the page has paid Facebook money to give that piece of content to you. So you might not necessarily even like that page, but they're if I can speak properly, they're putting it out to you. That requires a lot of technical. God, what's happened to my throat today? Sorry. That requires a lot of technical know-how outside of just hitting push a button. You need to know about demographics, data. You need to learn about the product, the service, and the business, what clients these people go to. So there's an awful lot more than just basic community management. But even community management is a lot more than that anyway. So the answer to both of the long and the short answer is no.
Cool. Yeah, and like if it was easy as that, then there wouldn't be that there wouldn't be that wouldn't be a business. It wouldn't be a business.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, we got through that one quicker, so let's go to Bruno. Steve, 2 questions. If a B2B startup contacts you for developing a website presence, do you know they market but do not know how to express it in terms of what you call contents? So question 1 is, what's your starting point to help your client? We'll just deal with that and then I'll do question 2.
Yeah, okay. What's your starting point to help with clients in terms of website development? So I need to go to a client, I need to have the initial chat. What is it you do? What is it you're looking to do? One thing that I speak about that a lot of web agencies tend to speak about is scalability. If what you're doing is just a mom and pop, corner shop kind of thing, news age, something really standard, and it's just you guys, you maybe a couple of family members, maybe a couple of employees working, is that all you need? Or are you looking at building something to scale? Because if you're looking at building a platform or a service to scale, I wouldn't recommend just building that straight away in WordPress or Squarespace. So if you're looking to scale right from the start, I say, well, let's build a platform in a modular fashion so you can scale it later on. But if if you're just a standard mom and pop shop, lifestyle business, something like that, then I kind of look at, okay, maybe we should be looking at WordPress, maybe we should be looking at Squarespace, and then going from there.
Cool. So the starting point you do is you kind of talk to them, figure out what's the end goal.
Figure out what the plans are.
Yeah.
For growth, for the business, and go from there. Really, yeah.
And then, so how do you get the critical information from them to fulfill the contents? So, like back in the day, I used to be a web developer, and then kind of Wix and Squarespace came along and took my business straight off me. But when you're dealing with people to develop their website, getting content off them is difficult.
How are we talking about content as in like what they want on the website, or do they mean like blog posts?
I'd assume now, Bruno, you could
what they actually want to go on it.
Yeah. So what's the actual text, and on top of that, the text has to go on there. It has to be CEO. Like there's certain rules that you want to have on there. So what if you're going and it's a mom and pop shop, and they don't know what they want on it? How do you extract? Or is that your job? Or like,
client doesn't know what they want. How can you get there? It's a really great question, and ultimately it comes down to your people skills. If you can say, to them like, look, I know you're really struggling. Let's start small. Let's work through it. So, you've told me this. Relay the information back to them. I think this. At that point, they're not telling you this, but really what they need you to do is take the lead. If they're totally like, oh, website, oh, I don't know, take the lead. That's all I can advise.
Yeah.
Is to take the lead and just advise them. Advise them based on your professional opinion. So go, look, I've dealt with 3 mom and pop shops this year. They've all gone WordPress. They've all gone, this and that. Because you're a similar business and you're not too sure, let's just go with that. It will be this. Give them the option.
So from the content, what I have a tendency, and I still do it today, is that I've got certain key questions that I ask them now. It's actually on the branding video that I done a while ago. I think I've done a short 5-minute branding video on this as well. But they're random. Like, why are you here? What do you do? What's your core values? Like these.
I'm just gonna grab a drink. My throat's a bit dry, but please continue.
Yeah. Okay, continue on. So, Bruno, the questions that I asked is like, why are you here? What's going on? Like, so there's certain questions, and if I can, I'll stick it. I have it here somewhere. I'll stick it in when Steve gets back and he's chatting about the next question. I will stick it in the chat. It's the next video, and it has branding questions, and they are a very good starting point to actually populate your webpage. So you kind of ask them questions. Hopefully that helps. So let me see. So how do you get to the thing? I'll contact you on LinkedIn, local CEO. What social platform are you more experienced in? So this is Jonathan. So because Steve isn't there, I'll answer what I am more experienced in. I suppose it's YouTube and web development. So SEO development. So no, that's not a social platform. That's your actual webpage. So YouTube is probably the best social platform that I'm experienced in. And now Steve is back to answer this question.
Sorry about that. What was the question?
So, what is the social platform that you are most experienced in?
Oh, great question. It's got to be LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. There's just something about the platform that me connecting with other business owners that I just feel really passionate about. So for me, it's LinkedIn for my most kind of most used or most familiar.
So yeah, LinkedIn's the one. So yeah, cool. That's that question. So we're on to the next question then. That's the last one from the stream. Okay, so let's crack on to the next one. I've lost my mojo here. Here we go. Next question. There are so many different advertising platforms out there: Google, Facebook, etc. Which ones do I need to be on? And I know that's it.
I've kind of ran through this in kind of previous questions a little bit, so I guess we can kind of just summarize this one so we can kind of move to another question. there are so many. Interestingly enough, sometimes it's not always best to be on the big one. As these companies grow, they can charge more for the real estate of the adverts. So sometimes being with the underdog can be a bit more beneficial. So as Facebook ads have risen in price, more platforms have come on. Thinking like TikTok, Snapchat, that type of thing, and the ad spend to get the same amount of reach might be a little bit less. So not necessarily always the big dog. However, if you are in B2B, generally Google and LinkedIn, or if you're B2C, rule of thumb, Facebook. I think that's kind of easy to sum up.
Yeah, and then there's Facebook, but there's also then the Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok that are rocking around there.
Instagram as well.
Instagram as well. So there's lots to be on, but the core ones there, Google, Facebook, and then the rest if you need. But then again, I know this through experience is if you try to monitor Twitter, monitor Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube for me, it gets too difficult, and that's why I kind of stuck with YouTube.
That's why people pay me to have my head blow up instead.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, so the next part, I think, is yes. So we're going to have one of the answers from the Telby software. So, I closed the page down. Hold on. So, log in. So, we go with this one. Okay, hopefully everybody can hear it.
Hello. I'm wondering what activities give the best return on investment in your experience.
Do you get that?
So I heard that. I assume the rest of the audience did if I did. For me, it's a really interesting question. We did touch on it just then about the ad spend being higher as platforms get more and more popular. The ad spend, the platform I've had the most results with is LinkedIn. By far, but it's not necessarily about the platform. The rule of thumb is that it can be any platform. It's how you get the content across to people. So if you've got an advert on Facebook that has, I'm telling you that Facebook's great, gets all the things. This is kind of similar to your example with the £50 LinkedIn voucher that you got. And if you have a bogus kind of targeting practice, you don't really know who your demographics are. On top of that, your copy is bad, your pictures are bad. Regardless of it being the best platform in the world, you're not going to get anything. So, I almost challenge the question a little bit and say, to get the best advertising, don't necessarily look for the best platform, look for the best content, and really any platform will do. There are better ones and stuff for whatever the platform is, but ultimately aim for better content.
Cool. So it's kind of irrelevant to a certain extent. It's all about the content.
Yes. You're going to get good reach on anything. Digital marketing has blown the water out of what came before it in terms of reach for mail ads and stuff like that. But look at content, not the platforms.
Cool. Right, so we'll move on. We've got a few questions in there, but we'll move on to the next questions now. So, can I run my business without any marketing activities?
Good luck. When you figure out how to do it, let me know. I would say if you were bootstrapping nothing at all, look at the very least at networking, if we classify networking as a marketing activity. I personally do. Go to some free networking events, tell people about you. If you are just, you set up a limited company, you get a phone number, and then you're at your desk, and you're waiting for the phone to ring, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to do something.
Yeah.
There are a lot if the question is, can I run my business without any paid for marketing activities? The answer then is yes, but you are going to struggle compared to paying. So it's kind of a sliding scale. Doing nothing at all, no. doing stuff for free, getting there. If you persevere, you'll do okay, and then paying, you'll get a return.
So one example that I've used it in my kind of Oracle world as well, is that you can have the best product in the world. You can have a revolutionary product that's going to change the world, but nobody knows about it.
Who knows?
Yeah. What good is it? So there is that whole thing, and unless I don't. So there's an international crowd here, but there's a company in Ireland called Paddy Power, and they're UK as well.
Oh yeah, I know Paddy Power, gambling.
Yeah, it's a gambling website, but their advertisement is second to none on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. They just
I've seen their Twitter ads.
Yeah, they just do joke after joke after joke, and they take the mick out of everybody, every sports star, everything that's going on. But that's be classed as free for advertisement because one person shares it with another, and the next thing, oh look at this, and it just continues on. But as I said, from a business point of view, especially from like a startup consulting point of view, it becomes very difficult to do that. So you have to move. You have to move up. So yeah, you can, but it's difficult.
Agreed.
So next question. I don't understand marketing at all. Can I give you everything to do? So this is kind of a question that I've seen a few times. It's just, okay, I've got money. I don't know what to do. Here you go. Sort it out for me. Can that be?
It's an interesting one, and I'm really kind of honestly partly in two minds. Why? Part of me wants to say, yeah, I'll take your money, and then the other one's like, not really, no, because you as a business owner or upper management or whatever should at least know the basics. I'm not, as a professional, I'm not asking you to learn the entire thing up and down, left to right, know it backwards. But if marketing questions in some respects are business questions, Facebook Ads Manager will ask you what your demographics are. If you don't know, so there are some things there that you should already know.
Give one example. So when I was using Facebook ads, they give you a kind of thing on the side. So who do you want to target? Like your age group. I want to target 18 to 50-year-olds. And then they go, right, you've got a reach of 65 million people. Okay, where do you want to do it? And then UK, Ireland. Okay, so now you've got a reach of 60 million. I don't know what million. But at that stage, you need to know, so what are they interested in? Technology? Are they interested in entrepreneurship? Are they interested in startup? Are they interested in blockchain? All this type of things. So you could, like you as a marketeer, don't know the answer. You don't know who you're supposed to be selling to. So I suppose
exactly. If someone came to me in, I don't know, a really niche industry, really niche sector, like I don't know, strawberry farming, like, oh, that's great, I'm really happy for you, but I don't know a thing about it, so you need to tell me so I can help you.
Yes. So the answer is no. You can't. You do need to have some interactions with that. And then we've got a question in here. So, what marketing book would you recommend? Now, if you had a book, this would be a great segue into that. But I'm assuming you don't have a marketing book to pitch.
I'm writing several books at the moment, but nothing yet to show. You could always just say, if you want some freebie stuff, go connect with me on LinkedIn and look at my articles. But marketing book. Oh, there's a couple. The thing with marketing books, well, digital marketing books, it's funny. I always don't recommend marketing books because the information in it, well, Facebook can patch something or change anything at a moment's notice, but print stays printed. you can't patch a book unless you buy a second edition. So I more recommend people to blog websites, that type of thing. For SEO, I've been really digging. It's a website called Moz, M-O-Z, M-O-Z, whatever. They do really interesting articles on SEO right now. But if I was to buy a book called The Big Book on SEO, and 5 years down the line, that book is not going to have the relevant information in it. So for marketing books, I kind of avoid it. I kind of avoid recommending them unless they're kind of more generalized. I'm writing kind of books like at the moment that are sector specific, so not really for marketing. Look at more blog content, stuff that can be updated rather than print.
Cool. And then Jonathan's moved on to any good startup books. I suppose I suppose the kind of the Bible to startup books though is the Lean Startup. Can't remember I can't remember the name, the chap that wrote it.
I'll get it up for you because I'm just pulling up Amazon now to have a look at my purchase history. The Lean. You want the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss? Eric Ries is the guy that did that.
So the Lean Startup, that's like in the startup world that I live in for the last few years. That in essence has been the Bible for startups. It's
any kind of coach mentor has said the same to me.
Yeah. So that would be the one there, and then Bruno's after throwing in a marketing book there onto the chat. Marketing Metrics by Neil T. Marketing Metrics. There we go. So I know actually Bruno has reached out to me on the side. He's actually studying in Dublin, and so he's used it in his marketing class. So brilliant.
Cool. Yeah, you on LinkedIn.
Cool. Right. So where are we at now? We are at another next question. No more questions in there. No. So. I'm not good with this stuff, but my nephew is on Facebook all the time. Can I get him to do it? So in other words, just because like if somebody's good on social media, can you just ask them to take care of your social media page?
Yeah, and the answer is not really. So usually I get this kind of rejection / question from clients that again don't really get it. And they just see Facebook as you type something and push a button. So your nephew might be good at Facebook, but that just might be that you don't get it, and you see him posting a status once a week or a funny cat video. So the people that usually claim that a family member or a person they know is good at Facebook usually just means that they actually know how to use it and they don't. So I'm going to tell you that the people who are, they think are good at Facebook just know how to operate the platform. That doesn't necessarily mean they know how to operate the advertising side or even Facebook in a business sense. So, go into the Nando's to have a cheeky one with the lads and it gets like 15 likes or whatever. You can't really translate that. Well, you can. You can't really translate that to a business page unless that's kind of the aesthetic you're going for. So your mom and pop shop, all right, come pop in and buy a cheeky Carlsberg or whatever. Like that kind of, unless that's the aesthetic of your post, your brand, it wouldn't really fit.
So from my point of view, Steve, when I was looking at trying to kind of crack the Facebook nugget, let's put it that way, and the LinkedIn and the Twitter, one of my friends says, "Oh, listen, I'll help you out. I'll post on your behalf or retweet and stuff like that." Oh, that'd be a great idea. Until I thought about it, and then I realised he knows nothing about startups.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So what's he gonna write? So, that was my kind of fear. It's like, okay, yeah, here's the access to the tweet, but what are you gonna tweet? Like, what are you gonna say? And so unless he knows. Unless somebody knows your business and things like that, what's the point in getting, I don't know, your nephew to host?
It's a really good point.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next TV question. Here we are here. So we go to this one and correct. Here we go.
Hey, my question is, what's the minimum amount you could spend to get started?
Great question. Different platforms have different like minimum ad spends. But on top of that, if you're not good at making pictures, are you outsourcing like thumbnails and stuff like that? But let's just use the actual minimum ad spend as the answer to the question. Facebook and Google, I believe it's either £10 or £5 a day. It's like half five. I can't remember. So it's pretty low when you first think about it. It adds up over the course of a month. Like £10 a day is like, if there's 31 days in a month, that's £310, or euros or dollars or whatever. But yeah, usually about in the 5 to 10 range just to start with. But that is the minimum.
Yeah. And that just puts some sort of presence on what's it called on the internet. And one tip that I do have is, if you go into Google Ads and whatever the minimum is, when you've started off and you've got your own web page, but the SEO isn't kicking in, put your own name as the so somebody searches. So we have Telby there. So when they started out, and somebody Googles Telby, they may not have come up anywhere in because their SEO isn't ready or it isn't set up. If you put in Telby as an ad word that you're doing there, so when somebody types in Telby, it comes up to, it's the very first one that's the thing. So that's a very good minimum starting point.
Very good PPC advertising is a very good short-term fix to get on the front page of Google if you don't want to put any money into SEO.
Yeah, well, even if you do pay money, it still takes time for it to start working up there. So that's a very quick fix to get you going.
Exactly.
So that's that next question. So there's two other questions already in there, but we'll leave that till right at the very end. What we for time? We've half an hour, so we're after catching up with ourselves. So I think everybody got their questions out at the start.
Yeah.
Is putting all my funding into advertising alone a good idea, or is there other activities I should look into? So I think we've kind of talked this one as well, but we can summarize again.
Do you want to sum it up, or do we want to skip?
So the other activities is so put all my funding into advertising alone a good idea. We haven't really touched that one, but I'd say no.
Sure.
But the other activities
basket, if you're not developing a product or a service, and you're like, oh, I'll just figure it out later, then, that's a pretty bad mindset.
Yeah, and then the other activities is kind of the networking, and the content.
Yeah, we mentioned kind of the other stuff that kind of is in the same realm, like networking. Yeah, it is good to diversify. I would definitely diversify kind of your advertising portfolio, if that makes sense.
Cool. Another question's in on the chat. Let's suppose you have an idea of B2C as an information service. You know what you want to do, but you don't know how big your potential market is. What channels would you choose to prospect?
Oh, interesting. I like this question. It's making me think. Information business, and you don't know your market. What platform do you use to prospect? You can't, playing it safe, Google. If I assume you know about the business enough, so if you're an information service, you got to know the information you're putting out there. So using keywords related to that business would kind of be an easy bet. But with demographics, it's a tricky one. You'd be looking at like market research at that point.
So for one thing that I'd say is, if you don't know the potential market, what channels? I'm thinking of the person you're selling to, but it's the actual how big is the potential market. I suppose Google would be I know there's a few web pages that I don't know them offhand now, but there are certain web pages that have an awful lot of information around markets.
Yeah, the other one is to just research instead of actually kind of throwing ads out there and just seeing what sticks. Do some active research, like how many people work in this sector, or well, it's B2C. So how many people like this? That type of thing. That's some kind of free research that you can do from the get go.
And then if I flick back to the Google Trends as well, so when you're in Google Trends, it gives you the ability. So if you have your idea, information services. So if you type in information services, what Google Trends will do, will show you where people are searching, or where people are searching that the keywords that they use also with information services. So if it's, for me, information service Dublin, are they then searching information services Dublin contractors? So that gives you a really good idea of that as well. If you find somebody that's similar to yourself, there's a good webpage called SimilarWeb, and that shows you where all their traffic comes from. So
That's it.
yeah. So when I do this on the channel, I use Revolut as a good example because they're very big in the UK, but they're not in the US. So it's very good. It's a very good site to kind of get the market and how many people actually go to their website and how big they are in Google. So SimilarWeb is another website that I'd recommend thoroughly to if you're starting to kind of prospect. Find somebody who's doing something similar and get their website and stick it in there.
Good tips.
Good tips. Good tips. That's what we're here for. Good tips. Not a question, but a statement. I don't have the money for this.
Well, in that case, what you've got to do is we have kind of touched on this a little bit, where it's like, if you don't have the money for doing digital advertising, you need to kind of do the things in the periphery. You need to network. You need to get referrals. You need to start working for free just to kind of get some buzz, some kind of client referral kind of stuff going on. And maybe you say, you're working on the cheap, or you're working for free. You say, right, I'll do this for you, whatever it is, or I'll supply you with this thing. But you've got to get me one person, two people in exchange for doing that will actually pay me. So yeah, if you don't have the money, there are things you can do to get the money. And that is your protocol to focus on.
So one thing that when we're talking about this that comes to my mind is that if you don't have the money, what money, like, you can still do your marketing, but what money gives you is accelerates it. If you don't have money, you've got to put in the time, and if you do have the money, it speeds it up.
Absolutely.
So we got another question in here. You guys mentioned a bit of networking earlier on. For the likes of bootstrapping and low marketing budgeteers, any networking nights organised or any YouTube videos up and coming? Steve, before I started the YouTube channel, I wanted to actually create proper meetups where people actually got together. What happened? COVID hit, and that went out the window. So I am planning on doing that when the world returns back to normal. I haven't figured out a really good way to do it yet digitally, but I am planning on doing it when the world comes back.
If you connect with me on LinkedIn, I posted an article that says it's titled "My Open Letter to Making Networking Events Better." I've kind of wrote all about what it's a piece of content around networking. So if you connect with me on LinkedIn, you'll be able to see that piece of content. And Thomas, for the physical events, maybe you look at it too and just see if there's anything there you want to incorporate for your stuff as well.
Yeah, and then I don't know if he's on this video. I did see a chat there, but there's Adam's on the video as well. He's basically a professional networker. I may speak to him about doing another video and just talking about networking. So when world returns to normal, yes, I plan on putting some thing. Whether the plan of action is to have one in Dublin and to have one in London and maybe one in Manchester as well. Yes, they still be there for the Manchester one. And then any YouTube videos upcoming. So the next one that I'm doing is about what's the next one I'm doing? It's recruitment. So the next one I'm doing is actually on how to build a team and how to recruit a team and how to pay a team. How do you get people that you don't want to you want to give them equity rather than giving them a salary. So that's the next YouTube video. And then there's one other. There's a YouTube series that's coming up soon. I've already started to put the works to it, and that is I'm going to start another company and record all the steps to it. So literally from idea to creating the company to opening the bank accounts to all the steps that you need to do to trying to make the first sale. So that's the next kind of YouTube video stuff that I'm coming up to there. And then there's Adam's a physical and digital strategy. So Adam, we're planning on having a chat in the next day or so we can what's it called? We can talk about your own YouTube video here about networking. I think that's all the questions. Good JP, congrats, it was a great talk and video chat. Very useful from a pal. JP, you're on. Adding you on LinkedIn there, bud. Hopefully it was me. Well, both of us. Steve, I think you're already on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Cool. Then don't have the money. So let's move on to the next question. Can the words marketing and advertising be used interchangeably? If not, what's the difference between the two?
This is a great question. I don't know how many times I've said that. There's a lot of great questions here. Tesla, the car company, not the scientist, famously doesn't spend a penny on marketing. Doesn't spend a penny on advertising. So when you're flicking through the telly, you don't see an advert for Tesla. But what Tesla does do is put a lot of money into marketing. They've spent a lot of money making this cult of personality around Elon Musk. If you look at the Cybertruck event, that was all marketing, not advertising. So marketing is all about kind of it's nearly 6 o'clock, so I'm like blagging, so I'm struggling to think of the actual two definitions. But marketing is all about kind of the awareness of the thing and doing things around what you do. And then advertising is straight like, this is the thing, give me your money. So people do use the words interchangeably. I think that, partly rightfully so. But there is a technical difference between the two.
Cool. So so I suppose your marketing strategy, like when we go back to the Paddy Power reference that I had earlier, so their marketing strategy is to have very witty stuff on Twitter that that's free. That's marketing, not advertisement.
Their advertising strategy would be to promote those tweets.
So they would be the billboards that you see with them. So if you're advertising billboards, Google AdWords like on the top or stuff that's on the side. So so marketing wouldn't be classed as free, I wouldn't assume. So even from Paddy Power's point of view,
marketing still costs money. Like if you look at the Cybertruck event, like, oh look, we made this thing look like it was a cyberpunk kind of truck. Oh look, these people in their leather jackets, like out of the Matrix, have come out of this car. Like that still costs money.
Yeah.
So.
And time is money. So even if you're a startup and you're spending 10 hours doing your marketing stuff, time is money. That's still costing you.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, quarter to. So we've got 3 questions left. 2 questions on the TV, 1 question left for this, and then whatever questions come in on the chat. So let me go to TV here, and let me actually refresh this. So there could be more than 2.
I'm loving the questions, like the people that have been putting in the chat. Really, really good questions. So thank you everybody that's putting a question. If you've been watching this and you want to ask something, but you feel a bit afraid, it's a bit stupid, ask away. Like you can only, there's only, we won't laugh. We're here to help. So throw any question into the chat, even if you think it's a bit silly.
Cool. So let's go to this one.
Hi, Thomas and Stephen. Thanks for answering these questions. Out of all of the forms of marketing out there, which are the ones that you feel yield the best return on investment? Thank you.
Yeah, so we've kind of spoke about this in dribs and drabs throughout the talk, but for me personally, the most return I've had is on LinkedIn. However, that doesn't necessarily translate to everybody. Then the other one, lost my train of thought then. I was going to say another point. But yeah, for me, mine is LinkedIn. However, it's not for everybody. Some people might have a product or service that fits Facebook a lot better. It's hard to kind of define a general answer for that.
Yeah, it really is. So I don't like so. Even thinking about, I don't even know if your target audience is teenagers. Facebook probably wouldn't be the best place to go.
Not anymore.
No, so now I'd say it'd be TikTok or Instagram. I don't know about Twitter, but so depending where your audience is, that's the key point. Is wherever your audience lives is the place to go advertise. And for me, it's Google and LinkedIn. For the next person, it would be, I don't know, TikTok and Facebook. And I genuinely don't know. This show you my age. I genuinely don't know how TikTok works. I definitely don't know how advertisement and TikTok works. So there's a very big, I think Gary Vee, if anybody knows who he is, he was asked this same question. And he was like, get all over TikTok now because advertisers don't know. Well, not advertisers.
Well, he did that before it was even TikTok. So the power of Gary Vee is that he always seems to be goddamn right for some reason. So he was saying get on it when it was still Musical.ly. Now Musical.ly rebranded or whatever as TikTok 1 or 2 years ago. And in that time, skyrocketed. So if you were there on Musical.ly and you built a following and you kept that momentum going, you'd be huge on TikTok right now.
Yeah. So the gist of that is where your people are is the platform that you need to go. You just need to figure out where the people are. And we have this question.
Yeah, hi Thomas. How do I track my media spend, and how do I know it's working? What metrics would you put forward for that?
Cool.
Well, he asked you. Go on, Thomas.
ask me. Yeah, I don't know. So if you spend 10K on advertisement, I suppose if you get extra 10,001 euro revenue, not even revenue profit, then it's what's it called, being a success.
There are a couple of rules of thumb to this, but however, I don't think I don't believe in them. I think that if you're doing okay and you're seeing results, then that's okay in its own right. Yes, those results can always be improved with more data and better copy and all that stuff, but really, yeah, as long as you're not in the red, But even then, if you spent a load of money and you've not got anything back, you've learned at that point. You've learned that that wasn't the right thing to do. So, if anyone's ever heard the analogy of you're mining and then you give up, then one person comes along, hits it, and then there's diamonds galore. You were one step away from hitting the diamonds, or whatever the saying is. I'm paraphrasing, but you've got to keep going. You've got to keep finding, experimenting, tweaking.
So Steve, from a technical point of view, how do you keep track of it? Like, is a HubSpot? Like, so if you've put out something on Amazon or Twitter, is there a technical? No, I don't need to go in depth into this, but like, how do you know that somebody's gone from your Facebook campaign to your shop and bought your product?
There are analytics tools out there. Most of if you integrate, so Facebook. Let's just use Facebook. There are general things for this. Facebook has a snippet of code that it is called the Facebook Pixel, It's Diddy. It's like a couple of lines long. You inject that into your website. You link your Pixel ID, I think it's called off the top of my head, which is your unique identifier in that line of code with your Facebook Ads Manager account, and then it syncs up through the magic and wonders of Facebook. And it lets you know how many people have clicked through, that type of stuff. That exists with Google Ads Manager as well. All the platforms have a kind of stat-based kind of viewing where you can kind of view the results.
Cool, excellent. So there is tech there that'll do it, and they all kind of exist on their own. So if you're advertising in Facebook, well, Facebook will give you a little bit of code to stick onto your web page. If you're advertising on Google, same thing, Google Analytics, I'd assume, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of track them, which is awesome. So we're gonna go to the last predefined question. No, we're not. Questions from the audience. So we've just done that one. Okay. So there are different types of marketing, or is it a one size fits all kind of industry?
Definitely, there are different types of marketing and advertising. I'm just going to generalize and say both there. There is, well, we kind of mentioned it at the start, didn't we? There's more brand based marketing, and then there's the kind of income generating activity advertising. So right there are two kind of different avenues. You could break it up into more, but let's just go with those two for now.
Cool. So there's no one size fits all, unfortunately. It's different for everybody, and I think we've probably touched on that a good chunk of time over today. And then so before we go on to the questions, I'm going to do my usual spiel here. So I might ask again. So if you haven't signed up to the YouTube channel, please do. It just helps a guy out to get these videos further on YouTube. Reach out to both of us on LinkedIn. I can see up on the top of my LinkedIn there, there's there's a good few notifications there. So hopefully there's a few people now reached out. LinkedIn group as well. If you please join that as well. If you have any random questions, there's loads of experts on that. And the mailing list. So if you want to know about the next videos or the past videos or next week's videos, there might be I know as I said, these slides were just questions, but. When I do my other videos, if you want the slides, every week the mailing list goes out with the slides for the previous week. So that's my ask, and then we're kind of left now for the last 8 minutes. So we've brought this in perfectly on time, Steve. Absolutely bang on. So we kind of ask if there's any questions left to the chat.
Sure.
Please do.
Whilst we're waiting on some people to kind of come give us some more feedback, if I could, would I be okay to just kind of say a bit more about me and what I do?
Sure, crack on, yeah. Marketeer, you jump on it, jump on it, jump on the opportunity.
My ask, if you will.
Yeah, go.
So thank you for having me on, Thomas. Thank you for everybody watching. My name is Steve, and I help businesses, specifically in the startup world, get where they need to be. I'm trialing a new service where if a startup has an avenues to funding, they're looking at funding, they're looking at VC, they're looking at business angels, they're looking at bank loans. I will help them, and I will issue them a line of credit at the start, which can then be paid back in terms of my time. So if you want some market research doing, the marketing on the business plan, stuff like that, I believe in what it is you're doing, speak to me. I'll issue you this line of credit, and we can work up until that point. And then once you actually get some revenue back, either some revenue back in your business, or you've made some money through through VC and stuff like that, through finance, then that's how I get paid back for that stuff. So it's really kind of this new innovative way of doing it, where I kind of I don't feel like don't feel like you can be outpriced in working with me. I want to work with anybody, any startup, even if you're pre-revenue. Secondly, mentioned about being a film producer. I'm launching a platform at the end of September, which helps filmmakers, content creators access equipment, video equipment in a way that suits them financially. So everything I do is about kind of helping people get the leg up. So if you're looking at creating content, you can visit Spread Like Wildfire store. That's slwfstore.com. We launch at the end of September. And yeah, if you want to buy some equipment from us, you can go there as well.
Cool. And then Adam's just after throwing in there. Thanks, Stephen. We can look at that model. Adding you on LinkedIn now. So
great.
There's at least one prospect for you, and then hopefully other people watch this afterwards. Like I know, because it's live, that not an awful lot of people can go at the exact time, but a good few chunk of people watch this afterwards.
Yeah.
And hopefully from there, what's it called? A few more prospects for you, Steve.
Cheers.
No questions have come in, and we've got like 4 minutes left. So you've got an expert in startups, and you've got an expert in marketing here. So if anybody's got any questions, this is the time to throw them out there. If not, Steve, what can I say? Thanks, man. I always love doing these live sessions. The live sessions become an awful lot easier because I don't need to prepare as much. Because yeah,
flows, doesn't it? I understand. No, it's always great to talk to you, Thomas. It's always, I love doing stuff like this. So, it's great. I love seeing the Build My Unicorn content. Is there any kind of update on anything to do with Build My Unicorn while we're here that you want to let people know about? Or is it?
No, it's still ongoing. So I have mentioned the other videos that I'm building a platform, but now I'm building I'm going to be, like I spoke last week about the crowdfunding. I'll be doing a crowdfunding launch in a couple of months. So it's all about, what's the thing with crowdfunding? You don't have a funding problem, you have a crowd problem.
Yes.
So now it's all about building the crowd. That's one of the reasons why I do this. But I think, Steve, that could be it. Like nobody's thrown any questions out there. Bruno just said thanks very much. Jam said thanks very much. Adam said thanks very much. So I think we might wrap it up here, man.
No problem.
Yeah, dude, it has been a pleasure. Thanks very much, and everybody, thanks for joining once again.
Thanks, guys.
It is. Cheers, lads. Have a good evening. Yep. Everybody, it's brilliant. And you know what? United game is on in 3 minutes. So, this is after tidying up video.
Bye, guys. Really enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.